Hi everybody, Creative Katie Karen Burchill here. Welcome to my version of Index Card a Day Create Daily series. Today the prompt is from week 2, thread, and the technique I'm going to be using sponges to paint with. So I'm starting with a page from my Happy Planner that I've repurposed, and this has a coat of gesso on it. And what I'm doing, I have orange and alizarin crimson and white off to the side, and I'm just sponging this on. Now this gives a different look than if I was finger painting with it, and you've seen me do lots of that, or if I'm using a brush. You get a very somewhat texturized look, and the way the colors blend is different. And more I'm really liking this look. And so why not start right from scratch and paint the background with this? I want some of the areas to be orange. I want some to blend. I want some of that alizarin crimson to show through. And then I'm lightening it with the white. And so right off the bat, when all I've done is add a layer of paint, it's more interesting than if I just had brushed it on. So play with different ways to get the paint, scraping it. You can, with a, old credit card or gift card, you can brayer it on. All of these are going to give you a different effect in the background. I'm just using cheap dollar store makeup sponges. These I spray with my Murphy's Oil soap and dish soap solution that I put both of those with water in the spray bottle. I just spray the sponges and then toss them in the water, and they clean and they last over time. So now that I have the page, and I'm really happy with the texture and the visual interest that's there, I am using the makeup sponge and the darkest of the colors and just going around the edges a little bit. So the prompt for this one is thread. And when I think of thread, I think of my mother, who's a seamstress, and my mom makes quilts. So that's where this prompt took me. So I have the quote, when life gives you scraps, make a quilt. And I decided that I'm going to use this circle tiles stencil from the Crafter's Workshop and some burgundy paint, and that was just craft paint. And I'm just stenciling it through. So when I see this stencil, I see a quilt, and I thought, oh, it's a quick, easy way of doing the background, tying into the quote that I've selected. Now I'm using the makeup sponge, and what you can't see is off to the side, because I've zoomed in a little bit, you can't see that I put some paint on the makeup sponge and then I'm patting it off. The sponge is not sopping wet, and that'll prevent it from going down. And I do go over this several times, and each time I'm adding just a little bit more paint, and it becomes darker. You just need to be successful with stenciling. I find you just need to slow it down and provide several layers, building up the color as opposed to trying to do it all in one quick first layer. So I'm quite happy with that. Just going to edge it a little bit more, give it another layer of color. It wasn't quite dark enough. I do suggest, if you are interested in how I unpack the prompts, here I had 3 prompts that all related to threads. And so when it comes down to creating, then I decide which way I'm going to go. And I do have a video that I'll put in the iCards in the top right hand corner. And that video will tell you how I unpack the prompts and how I use them to get inspiration. And sometimes I don't use the literal prompt. It's just where the prompt takes me. So I start with my micron pen here, outlining it. And I said, oh, I want some stitches so it looks more like it's sewn. And I try that, and I decide that, nope, I really didn't like that. It just wasn't giving the effect that I wanted. So I do decide to go over it. Now, if you've watched some of my videos, you've seen me use the fine line bottles to do outlining, and I could have done that, but I wanted a little bit finer. I didn't want quite so much black. So I'm just using this, and I think it's 0.05. It's a medium tip. I don't like the fine ones. When you're using these, the thing that I've found, you need it to be absolutely dry and cool. If you've used the heat tool to dry and it's still hot, that I find has killed several of my micron pens, my pip pens here. So never fear, I'm not going to make you watch me outline all of these elements. As I was doing this though, I was thinking, I wish I had done this with white. I think that would have really lightened and brightened the page. Next time. And I've used colors that are all very close to each other on the color wheel. Those are analogous colors, and those colors are always going to work well to each other. Got some darkers and some dark and some lights of the same, kind of tone on tone look. So then I do the stitching around the edges. I love the glass media mat. I don't love that you see the reflection of me upside down, inside out. And now I'm deciding what to do and how to do this quote. And I decide to cut it all up. And I kind of wish I hadn't done that. But live and learn. I mean, once it's cut, it's cut. I could have gone and printed it out again, but... And I want to put them some ways so that your eyes go and travel through the whole page. See, I wish I had kept that particular arrangement. See, now I find I have too many little pieces. And this is me evaluating it out of the moment and sharing that with you. But in the end, I mean, you do what looks good to you. So I decide I need a little bling on this page. So I get out my gold paint and my stylus, and I'm going to dip the stylus in the gold paint and add some details on in the center parts of these. Now, when you add paint with the stylus, you need to make sure you give it enough time to dry, which is more than, regular paint because it's all kind of piled on top of each other. Then I get my fan brush, I water down the gold paint there, and then I'm just going to splatter. And again, that's going to give it some interest, some sparkle, especially when it picks up in the light, without adding too much pattern. I did stop there and take a picture of that background because I loved it. And you could put even something unrelated to quilt. So here I've rearranged the quotes, and as you can see how I'm putting it right now. I mean, it's okay. I would have preferred if I had left it like what I did initially shown you. I'm gluing it down with gel medium matte finish. And I put the gel medium underneath and then on top, as always. The only time I wouldn't put it on top would be if I had some product on there that was going to be water activated, in which case I would just try to put it underneath and avoid smearing it. I think I like the other way better because your eye went from top to bottom. Then I colorized. I thought it was too white. It stood out and maybe I didn't like the arrangement. So I colorized it and shaded it. And then I decided I need to put some gold around it. And when I did this, I thought it might make it too busy, but I think what it did instead, it pushed the background further back a little bit. It made the sentiments stand out a little bit more. And I bet if I shaded it with, if I went back in there and shaded it with, a dark brown or a black, it would even do that more. I might have to go do that. But remember, working in your art journal is about experiment. It's about playing around, exploring new ideas, trying them out. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. So thank you so much for watching. Please check out the playlist. I have a playlist that's labeled ICAD 2019. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. See you in the next video.